Welcome to Pageant Planet's podcast, where we share stories and strategies to help expand and connect the global pageant community. Visit pageantplanet.com to find pageants, hire coaches, shop for dresses, and more. Now, here's your host, Stephen Roddy.
Welcome, everyone, to another Pageant Planet episode where our goal is to connect and expand the pageant industry by sharing the life and accomplishments of people in the industry. This is a podcast for title holders, contestants who want to be inspired and learn how to win the crown. And we hope that this story of Zozibini Tunzi inspires you. So, Jesse, set the stage for us.
So, Stephen, the feature of our podcast today is one of the most well-known pageantry for 2019-2020. And today we'll be getting to know the life of Zozibini Tunzi. Did I say it wrong this time, Stephen? I just
Zozibini
spent like 30
Tunzi.
Minutes talking about this.
Yes. No,
Zozibini Tunzi.
I think it's good. Yeah. Side note, very sorry if we mess up starting like country names, and we're doing our best. Language is not my strong suit. More so Jesse's.
Well, even still,
yeah.
Not everyone's perfect, you know?
So
Zozibini Tunzi, Miss Universe 2019. So Zozibini, he'll make it easy on ourselves and say Zozi, as she's much well known as well, is the second Miss Universe in the last decade to be from South Africa. And she was crowned Miss Universe in December 2019 in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, Zozi is a 26-year-old model from South Africa. She made her way into the pageant world in 2017 at the Miss South Africa pageant. Although she did not take home the crown, she continued with her education and work in public relations, her work as a model, and her advocacy for women's rights and equality.
And Zozi's true beauty comes from her ability to courageously and unapologetically be herself with her personality, her community involvement, and with her appearance. And she graced the Miss Universe stage with her short, natural textured hair, inspiring millions of women around the world to embrace their natural beauty.
Zozi was born in Tolso Eastern Cape, located in South Africa. Here she grew up with her parents and 3 other sisters. She is the second oldest of her siblings. Zozi grew up close with her family and considered her parents her role models.
And one thing she said about her family was, "My mother taught me the importance of being kind and humble and always helpful to those around me. And my father taught me the importance of education, hard work, and discipline." So growing up, some of Zozi's hobbies included hiking, cooking, and watching your favorite television shows. If you're doing these hobbies right now, maybe you can also be the next Miss Universe. Yes. So surely she didn't know at those moments what she was destined to become.
Yeah, Zozi grew up like any other woman might have. She loves watching Marvel movies and Game of Thrones, which I feel like is a very fitting show for those in pageantry, minus the violence, the rape and the pillaging and all that. But the more the thrones, is actually the show. She attended Cape Peninsula University of Technology and graduated with a bachelor's degree in public relations and image management in 2018. What a really perfect degree for a future Miss Universe.
Yes.
Zozi worked as a graduate intern in the public relations department of Ogilvy, Cape Town. And those of you that don't know, Ogilvy is a massive, very prestigious marketing firm. And she also went on to complete a Bachelor of Technology. And that's that.
Yes, in public relations, as you had already said.
In public relations, okay.
Yep. Zozi's love for education most likely came from her parent, as her mother is a school principal and her father works at the Department of Higher Learning in Pretoria. And aside from getting her post-secondary education, Zozi also worked as a model in East London, Eastern Cape. I am having a harder time than you today. What a role
Which
reversal.
Is very, very interesting. All right. In 2018, Zozi entered the reality TV show Presenter Search. She was unsuccessful in this venture, but there are other ways that she was meant to be in the spotlight.
And a fun fact, I was looking up what Presenter Search is, and it's a reality show in South Africa where they compete to become the next host on their ABC affiliate morning show. So it's a pretty big deal. Like, you get this job on TV. And this year's winners, so they compete. They finally pick the final 2 that become the hosts. And then in their final episode, they interview high profile people. And Zozi was one of the people that this year's winners got to interview. So excellent revenge for not winning the first time around.
That is crazy. I mean,
isn't that funny?
Yeah. So there's always this is kind of like a pageant, right? Where like she tried out for this presenter search, didn't get it. And then, so the person who won, and then got to interview her as she won Miss South Africa Universe. That goes to show you right there that, I really just feel like God has a plan, and it helps if you didn't necessarily win the title this year. There could be something better in store for you, or there absolutely is.
So for our U.S. listeners, here's how I would equate it. Adam Lambert did not win, or Jennifer Hudson even. Adam Lambert, Jennifer Hudson did not win American Idol. And then they come back and they are mentors on The Voice. Like, that's how I equate it too. Like, they didn't win, and then they came back and they were like, hey, like, we're more successful than anyone that won. So that's how I would look at it.
Perfect. So in 2017, it was the year Zozi began her pageant career. The first pageant she competed in was Miss South Africa 2017, where the winner of the pageant goes on to represent South Africa at Miss Universe. At Miss South Africa 2017, Zozi placed in the top 26 finalists, but failed to proceed into the top 12. Ultimately, Demi Lee went on to win Miss South Africa 2017 and then Miss Universe 2017 as well. If you're going to lose to someone, losing to Demi Lee is like totally
not
understandable.
The worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So Zozi did not compete the following year in Miss South Africa 2018, which again, another competitive year because Tamron Green, one of our favorites, Steven, was first runner-up at Miss Universe that year. So, they had winner, first runner-up, and then the rest is history, as we know. And luckily, her pageant fans were able to cheer her on once again when she tried her luck at Miss South Africa 2019. So she took a year off and came back. She did not disappoint and was able to soar through the competition and win the title of Miss South Africa 2019, and then, of course, the chance to compete at Miss Universe.
Yeah, and side note, like South Africa, the past 3 years, they are like becoming a new powerhouse in the universe. Think about Tamron Green. She kind of botched, didn't fully answer her onstage question, tripped over her gown like twice, and still got first runner-up. The judges were like, we really want to crown you as Miss Universe.
And we're trying our best.
We're trying our best here. But, that is wild. Tripped over a gown, kind of, again, onstage question, a little flub there, and still got first runner-up. she was a strong, strong competitor. But, yeah.
We talked about her for, days afterwards. You and I both loved her.
Yeah. So, yeah, is what it is. But yeah, the last 3 years they've been just crushing it. But some additional prizes Zozi received from winning Miss South Africa, and this is crazy, really. She got a new Mercedes-Benz, a fully furnished apartment in Sandton neighborhood in Johannesburg, which is valued at $350,000 United States, which is, and she got $1 million rand, which is 70,000 USD. So to put in perspective, like Johannesburg, Renata and I, we went there, it was either last year or the year before, but it's a booming city. Not, if you go to only Johannesburg and then leave, you don't really get to experience South Africa for what I feel like it's really known for, at least outside of there, the beauty, like going on the safaris and all of that. But it was kind of pricey. I was like, what? Certain things like drinks and stuff there were really inexpensive, from coffee to alcohol to shakes. But like the food and stuff was, not that different from it was different from like a New York, but from just a normal like city in America. I felt like the prices were very much there, but it's more of a touristy place. But yeah, that is an amazing prize package.
Oh my gosh. It rivals what our Miss USA would make in the US for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And Zozi candidly admitted to not having her driver's license after receiving the car for winning Miss South Africa, which is kind of funny. But her educational experience and her modeling and excellent speaking skills made Zozi the perfect candidate to represent South Africa at the, as we know, the biggest international pageant in the world, ranked #1 on Pageant Planet.
Yep. And the thing that makes Zozi so unique going into the competition is that she had very short, natural hair, which is not common at all in the Miss Universe stage, and definitely not like somebody who makes like a top 10 or top 15. And during the Miss South Africa 2017, Zozi had long straight hair for the competition. But this year she chose to stay with her natural hair. The judges, audience, and fans from around the world loved it. And she just said she was just kind of sick of spending hours in the salon, and staying true to her natural hair was what she actually needed all along.
I mean, her face, we were texting, Stephen, you and I, and her face is just undeniably gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like, not everyone can get away with that type of a hairstyle, but she just radiates. She doesn't need like blankets of hair all over her.
Well,
like, she just looked amazing.
And what's wild, and like, I mean, I can admit this, but I really thought that her hair, if that was the only reason that she would not win, was because like if the judges just felt like, I don't think her hair represented Miss Universe. Right? Because judges can get caught up on that.
Absolutely.
And, you know, so that's kind of a case in point where if you have a different judge, like if you have a different group of judges, or maybe just one or two are changed out and they're just like, I cannot envision a Miss Universe with that hairstyle, that could have held her back. So gratefully, the judges didn't let that hold her up, because, I mean, she was flawless all throughout the competition.
Yeah, and I'll even say, I'll do a quick VIP shout out here. Sara Pennington, one of our VIP members, is completely bald. And she's going to be mad at me because I don't remember exactly what disorder she has, but she's completely bald. And she's been very successful in pageantry and received many crowns. And I'm sure that judges, like, there were some judges that were like, you know what, can we crown this girl? Can we not? But she has overcome. So do not let preconceived notions of what you think others might perceive you as take over when you're preparing for a pageant.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So Zozi wants and truly is an advocate for natural beauty. She allows herself to be who she is, which allows herself to be comfortable. And this is something she also shares on social media. And as Miss South Africa, she was actively working for women's rights and equality. And she promotes the He for She campaign, an initiative from the UN for solidarity and advancement of gender equality. And she is passionate about eradicating the fight against gender-based violence. And she devoted her social media campaign to changing the narrative around gender stereotypes. Very important right now, especially.
Mm-hmm. Her message and main takeaway from the campaign is to include men in the struggle against gender-based violence. We should not only teach women to protect themselves, but it should also include the men to take a stand against these actions as well. Zozi was also featured in Women's Health magazine and shared about how she doesn't wear makeup every day and that coconut oil is her best friend.
And this is actually a coaching moment, and it's going to sound silly, but like, can we talk about coconut oil for a minute? Because if you don't have a jug of this at home, you need to like run to your nearest bulk store and get it. Do you have it in your house, Stephen?
No, I don't. I know. No, so I had a roommate that was like, oh, he would like put it on his because he was like a bodybuilder, so he would put it on his like chest to make sure he never gets stretch marks. But he would do that religiously at the like every day, like make sure that he didn't get stretch marks. But I hear like pregnant women use it for the very same thing. But what are some of the other benefits?
So I clearly have no medical training, so you're not hearing from a doctor today. So that's a quick disclaimer. But I mean, some of the benefits that I've used it for personally, like it works topically for skin inflammation. So like anytime I burn my finger with a curling iron or maybe like my neck, I always put it on that, and it really helps to soothe it, calm it, and help it heal really well. Probably that same reason that it works great for stretch marks for bodybuilders or pregnant women. I like it as a waxless lip balm. I use all wax-free lip products because I used to be a chapstick addict. Like I could not go to, I was one of the people, I had a car chapstick, a work chapstick, a bedtime chapstick, a purse chapstick, and like several extra just in case. But my lips were so dry. And then I found out that a lot of products have wax in them, which create a buildup, which prevents any moisture from getting in there at all.
Right.
So I use coconut oil because if I don't have like my waxless lip stuff handy, I'll use that. So that's great. You can put it in your mouth. It's called dental pulling. I don't think it's something pulling, oil pulling. So you put like a little bit in your mouth and you swish around for 30 seconds and it's supposed to pull out a ton of like toxins from your mouth.
Wow.
So it's great for dental health. It's like the Egyptians used to do it, like millennia ago, perhaps. Maybe that's too many.
No, that would
increases
be
your
not
metabolism.
enough, I think. Yeah. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
and it's a killer moisturizer. So it's just like, it's not super expensive. It works for so many things. I have Keratosis Pilaris, which is, a lot of people might not know they have it, but they do. It creates a buildup on your pores. So it looks like you have like bumpy skin. It's also known as chicken skin, which really isn't glamorous at all. So I have it on my legs and my arms.
Uh-huh.
So in the shower, I'll put it on there and it really helps to smooth my skin. And it's like, again, the cheapest, easiest solution for anything that ails you.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Like every store really has it. And
Mm-hmm.
you're right. It's not expensive at all. So cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
That was a good coaching moment.
It's something you should have in the closet, and that's it.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what? Maybe Renata has it on her side of the sink or whatever, but I don't have it on mine. But okay, so it was discovered in October of 2019 that Atlanta, Georgia, was to host the 2019 Miss Universe pageant. The competition would last 10 days, and only one of 90 would be crowned Miss Universe 2019, which isn't probably really intimidating to Zozibini because there was last year 900 girls that competed in Miss South Africa. Like, that's a bunch of girls.
Crazy.
So she already beat them out. So she's like, what's 90 more? So this was not her first time in the United States, though. She walked in runway for New York Fashion Week 2019 for Max Hosa, a fashion label in South Africa. And the designer name is La Duma Naxo Kolo.
I mean, that's not bad.
Okay, yeah, I give it a
for
shot.
those listening, it's NGXOKOLO.
It's challenging.
The NGX is really like not something that we see every day.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like that's more like Vietnamese, like the NG part. But okay.
Well, South African designer. There we go. Anyway, so Zozi was recognized as a front runner of the competition even before her arrival, making the top picks of numerous pageant Instagram accounts because that's important. And what was most notable about Zozi is her ability to captivate an audience with her words.
She was so confident in her words. I mean, I'm like, I had total buy-in. She was just talking to somebody just, over a cup of coffee or whatever. I was like,
it was a wow for sure.
Loved her like confidence. During the preliminary competition, Zozi rocked all three elements of the competition: swimsuit, evening gown. Oh, her evening gown was awesome. And national costume. What was most memorable about the night is the moment she walked out in her white gown with a long white cape draped behind her. There was a different vibe in the audience, as if they knew that they were looking at the next queen. The gown was designed by Binji La Mason, and it had a black and white striped pattern on the interior part of the cape, which represented Zozi's heritage.
And a side note for me, because Stephen, I love the gowns. I thought that gown was the second best gown in the whole pageant. So preliminaries and finals combined, aside only from her finals gown. Like, I thought her gown choices for both were the best, bar none. And I think she still would have won if she wore it.
Right. Like, there is something, it was palpable about her style versus a lot of the other stage we saw. Because remember, like, when we were texting back and forth, it's like, another metallic, which we've been saying, like, that's on trend for this year, but everybody followed like the safe trend. And then she came out and just like, this is me. It's kind of like the same way that she did with her hairstyle, like, whatever, this is me, this is what I want to do. And so she just did it. She did her, and gosh, it certainly stuck out like a sore thumb in the best kind of way on stage.
Right. It actually reminded me a lot of Kira Kazantsev, who won Miss America like 3 or 4 years ago. And prelims, she wore this really structural white peplum dress with a pattern on the underside. And it was 100% completely different from what anybody else wore. And everybody was talking about it. And I feel like the same happened when Zozi wore that preliminary gown.
Yeah, because it's like the evening gown really does make the queen. Like, when you see it, like, you're like, oh gosh, she could really win this thing. And then she comes out in her evening gown, if it's just, and it makes a statement and it's classy and all those things like Zozi's was, it was just like, she's gotta win now. And I feel like, to go back to Tamron Green, like, her evening gown was just so great and she just looked so flawless in it. I really feel like maybe that's another contributing factor why people just kept wanting her to win.
Agree. It was just it was red. So Tamron was red carpet all the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then Zozi had this really incredible glam that I don't think was matched by anybody.
Yeah. Zozi's was almost like, what's the one where they all go to, like the art museum to have it? Is it the something gala where they?
Oh, the Met Gala.
Met Gala.
Totally.
Yeah, so she's like more of the Met Gala
Yeah,
vibe.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And on finals night, so we talked about prelims at length. So on finals night, Zozi breezed through each portion of the competition, top 20, top 10, top 5, top 3. And she changed her evening gown to, we were already kind of talking about it, but that ombre blue, silver, gold dress, which she described as the sand, the beach, and the skies of South Africa, which as she was describing it on the show, I was seeing it. Mm-hmm. And she felt like she had all the people of South Africa on stage with her while she was wearing that gown. And I love that sentiment.
Yeah. Zozi's top 3 answer will probably go down in history as one of the best answers on the Miss Universe stage. She spoke about how the most important thing she should be teaching young girls is leadership, to take up space in society and to submit yourself. At this point, she really won hearts across the world.
Yeah, and I'll read that answer right now. And she said, I think the most important thing we should be teaching young girls today is leadership. It's something that has been lacking in young girls and women for a very long time, not because we don't want to, but because of what society has labeled women to be. I think we are the most powerful beings in the world and that we should be given every opportunity. And that is what we should be teaching these young girls, to take up space. Nothing is as important as taking up space in society and cementing yourself. Thank you. Oh,
it's so good.
So strong.
To no surprise, Zozi, she won the title of Miss Universe 2019 and was crowned by Miss Universe 2018, Catriona Gray. And many people commented about the similarities of the two Miss Universe winners and knew Zozi had all the making to win this year. She had already moved to New York, into the New York Miss Universe apartment to begin her year-long reign, and she's the 3rd South African to win Miss Universe. It's kind of nice that she went from luxury apartment to luxury apartment. Like, I mean, so to put in perspective, I was kind of doing the math where we're reading down through, but the $350,000 apartment, like, I mean, if you live in Boston, you cannot like buy or like get an apartment down in Boston for $350,000. But in South Africa, that would be like equivalent to here. It would be like more like a $2 million apartment. Now, I don't know what Johannesburg market is. I mean, it might be a little bit less than that, but it would be somewhere around like a million. We'll just say 1 and 2 million. I know it's a big range, but so you're looking at a really nice like apartment.
Oh, yeah. They're not putting her up in squalor. That's for sure.
No.
She'll go down in history as the first Miss Universe to win with natural hair. And her win completed a very powerful and inspirational foursome. It is the first time in history that a Miss Universe, Miss USA, Miss Teen USA, and Miss America were all African-born women. So African-American for the U.S. contestants and South African for Zozi. So it's written kind of odd in the script. So
wait, but then also Miss World is black now too.
Yeah,
because she's Jamaican. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Miss Universe, Miss USA, Teen USA, Miss World, Miss America.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
Imani Davis, Miss Earth USA, Miss Earth Fire. I think she was Miss Earth Fire. Mm-hmm. Also gorgeous, empowering, inspiring. So I actually, when I read that stat about Zozi being the first contestant with natural hair to win Miss Universe, I was like, that can't possibly be true. But I did some digging on my own, and I couldn't find anything that contradicted that fact. So if you're listening and you remember history that I wasn't able to find, please let us know, because I was blown away. And, you know, it goes back to, I don't remember if it was, I think it was Nia Franklin, who was Miss America. She said, we're going to keep counting Black women that hold significant titles until we can't count anymore. Mm-hmm. And like, if this is the first Miss Universe to win with natural hair, like this is going to be the first of many. Well, it's exciting.
But like, okay. Oh, we're saying Miss Universe.
Yes. Because I was like, because
like the white, are we saying like white girls too? Like,
so the natural hair we're referring to is black woman's hair that has natural texture to it, that is not heat treated or pressed.
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
That makes more sense
So
to
now,
me.
yeah, there's been plenty of winners with like untreated, undyed hair for sure.
Yeah.
We're referring to Afro texture celebrated in the Black community.
Okay. Got it. That makes more sense to me. All right.
Yeah.
My bad.
No worries.
My turn?
Yes, your turn.
Cool. All right. So Zozi is also predicted to be one of the most influential Miss Universes as her Instagram following added almost 2 million followers overnight. Wow. Yeah. Clearly fans around the world loved what she had to say at Miss Universe, and they wanted to hear more.
And this is a coaching moment too, because if there was ever a time to say like one of the most overrated coaching tips, I hate saying this, but now really is the time. And it's be yourself. There's authenticity, natural, and beauty in yourself. And when you look in the mirror each morning, you should be reminding yourself that at that moment, you are good enough, worthy enough, beautiful enough for whatever successes and goals you want to achieve in your life. You don't need more money. You don't need more friends on social media. You don't need more makeup, hair extensions, or any changes at all. And Zozi embraced the woman she was both internally and externally. And for those reasons, she's now Miss Universe 2019. So don't feel like you have to conform to the title holders you've seen in the past.
Yeah. And to think about it, I feel like I made mention of this last week. But when Zozi showed up, there was no one else that had her hairstyle. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if she was just like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I'm used to it. Or if there was that doubt of like, I'm getting ready to go on stage in front of millions of people. Mm-hmm. Like both, I mean, when you combine the viewership all around the world, all that stuff. Should I have done something different with my hair? Mm-hmm. You know? So for her, it's her hair because it's the most obvious one. But for you listening, it could be your dress. It could be your interview. It could be your introduction speech. It could be your talent that you're performing, you know? So those things that, I mean, the world celebrates those that are different and those who can pull it off confidently. And that is certainly her. So if you're doing something different, have confidence in that. And if you do look different from other people that you're competing against, totally fine. Have confidence in it. Trust those decisions that you made and just go all in like she did.
Absolutely. Well said.
So South African beauties have been making waves in the Miss Universe pageant, placing in the top 2 for the last 3 years and winning the title in 17 and 19. And sometimes it's easy to wonder like what the perfect, you know, air quotes formula might be for a Miss Universe. And if there's one thing to learn from Zozi, it is that there's no definite answer. Each woman is beautiful, unique, and special in their own ways. Rather than trying to be like who you think the judges want to see, be your natural and authentic self.
And society is changing to embrace what beauty can look like from around the world. And Zozi will be able to utilize her platform as Miss Universe to continue to spread this message. And she's the leader that women and men across the world can look up to and realize they have all these qualities and capabilities too. Yeah,
Zozi has already begun her media tour in New York, and we are excited to see what events she has planned throughout the year. Soon, she will be going back to South Africa for her homecoming. And if you haven't already begun to follow Zozi's journey, start now. Through her travels, multimedia events, red carpet opportunities, and working with the Miss Universe organization, we have no doubt Zozi's appearances and ability to transform and impact the lives of each person that she meets.
And we'll end with some words from Zozi herself. And she said, the misconception about women empowerment is that it means giving power to women. And that isn't its purpose. Women already have the power. Women empowerment is about enhancing and encouraging those deep reservoirs of power.
Gosh, so powerful. So if you would like to be featured, like a next featured contestant on our next podcast, create a contestant profile with all of your information, cute stories, and hidden facts, along with what makes you special. And then email support at Pageant Planet with the title podcast feature so we can review your profile. We'll let you know within 24 hours after you submit if you're scheduled. And a special shout out to Maria Gerlando for doing the research. Thank you for listening. And if you've received any benefit from this show or for ones previous, please consider giving us a 5-star review. It might seem like a small action, but it really does help us keep the show going. Until next time.
Want to become a part of pageant history? Create a free contestant or business profile on pageantplanet.com to unlock hidden features and connect with other experts throughout the world.